A new round of testing begins today at a controversial Superfund site in South Asheville.
I think it's useless because they've already tested. They have all the documentation that they need.
Why some residents are fed up and they're demanding a cleanup immediately. That story and more next on News 13 at 6.
Now in high definition from Western North Carolina's news leader. This is News 13 at 6.
The EPA has returned to a controversial Superfund site in South Asheville.
The agency is doing new tests near the old CTS plant, which closed nearly 30 years ago.
Now, News 13's investigative reporter Mike Mason is live at the site. He joins us with our continuing coverage. Mike.
Yeah, for the first time in years, the EPA's contractors have come out to the old CTS site to take samples, and this all centers around dirt. Contamination in the soil over here that has now seeped into the groundwater. Residents just want it cleaned up, but EPA officials say it's not that easy. For years, the gates around this controversial Superfund site have been locked up tight until today. This morning, EPA contractors geared up for a new round of testing at the old CTS site in South Asheville. Their goal? To determine the extent of contamination at the site and residential properties nearby.
We're gearing up to do sampling investigations of soil and groundwater on the main property as well as east of the site. And if contamination, high levels of contamination is present, we'll move outwards.
But this latest testing is sparking debate on both sides of the fence.
The important thing to know is, our goal is to protect human health and the environment.
It don't make me feel very well because I'd like to see something done towards a cleanup instead of testing.
Dot Rice lives next door to the old CTS site. The EPA began extensive testing in 1999 when they found the Rice's drinking water was contaminated with the toxic chemical TCE, which is a known carcinogen. Since then, other residents have also been affected. When CTS's Asheville plant was in business between 1959 to 1986, records show they used TCE to clean off excess grease from electrical components. CTS has agreed to pay for testing and cleanup, and the EPA will oversee the on-site activities beginning today. Tate McQueen is skeptical of more testing. In 2010, he and 24 local families filed a lawsuit against CTS, accusing the company of causing the contamination. The lawsuit demands CTS clean up the site and compensate families for harming their health and property values. We tried speaking with CTS officials, but they haven't responded. McQueen feels the soil at the site must be completely removed.
Dig up the contaminated soil, treat it and get rid of it, ship it somewhere, and then replace it with fresh soil that's not contaminated.
But EPA officials say it's too late for that.
We believe that the contamination has migrated down to the groundwater, that what's left there's very little left in the soil and the top.
Instead, the EPA has begun testing again to decide how to best move forward with a cleanup, and they expect that could take at least 5 more years.
I'm not willing to wait another 5 more years. I've waited long enough.
Now, this particular phase of the testing is expected to take 3 more months. And Dot Rice says that she did allow EPA officials to test on her property for years, but they not only tore up her property, they also fenced off 3 acres around her springs without her permission. Now, we've been working on this issue for months, and coming up soon we'll have a special 1-hour investigative report on this issue. You'll want to stay tuned for details on that. Reporting live in South Asheville, Mike Mason, News 13.